Yo, what's going on? To this week, wild. Wrestling, insane. Ryan Stone, let's get started.
Holy shit. All right, man. I'm starting with the biggest topic that's come out. And this just came out yesterday. We're recording this on the 16th of June. This came out yesterday. Vince McMahon is being investigated by the WWE's board of directors for a $3 million hush payment after an affair that happened in April of 21. Or that's at least when it could have started. So, holy shit.
I think that's when it came out. The more I read about this affair, the more I realize Vince did this shit to himself. Like, oh my God.
Dude, all right, I'm just going to start hopping into the details and the more I've read the details, the crazier this gets. So the Wall Street Journal reported this on the 15th of June that the board of directors was sent an anonymous email back in April of 2022, so just 2 months ago, about this affair. And the details were this woman was hired for the legal department. She initially was offered $100,000 a year salary. But shortly after starting, she started a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship with Vince. Right around that time, her salary magically went up to $200,000 per year. And, that's already suspicious. You're doubling your salary within the first few months of even being there. That's fishy, man. Already, if I was anybody like in accounting, HR, finance, payroll, I'd be looking at that going, huh?
Right? It's already red flags.
Yeah, immediately. Okay, getting hired as a paralegal or legal assistant, I don't know what she was, for $100K, sure, could get that. But all of a sudden moved to $200K for no reason?
It's like, is she that good? How good is she?
To Vince, she must have been that good,
right? Well,
but here's where it goes a little nuts, though.
Yeah, that's what I was
saying. He moved her from the legal department to being John Laurinaitis' assistant.
John Laurinaitis, hold on. Who we should, for people that aren't really aware of
this is true.
John Laurinaitis is the head of talent relations, and he is married to the mother of the Bella twins, who are married to Bryan Danielson.
Right. This is going to, like you said over text today, this is going to be some awkward holidays.
Right? Thanksgiving's about to get really, really weird at the American Dragon household. Anyways.
So the weird thing about her moving to Laurinaitis was the phrasing that they used in the reports. That Vince sent her to Johnny like she was a toy. Like, I'm sharing my toy, like my 6-year-old shares with her sister. Right. That's really weird, man.
She got
and apparently she started a sexual relationship with Johnny Ace. John Laurinaitis. Yeah. That's really first, you could pick 2 better looking dudes. I'm just saying.
Dude, we saw
Vince is legit. Man. Vince is jacked and shit.
No, dude,
but
we saw
he's 76 fucking years old.
Yeah, you want that shit dangling all over you, all greasy?
Dude, that just sounds awful. It just sounds disgusting.
That was happening months ago with some woman.
That was happening, yeah.
I want to see this girl, dude. If she's hot.
Yeah, they haven't released a name. They haven't released what it was. All they've released is, I believe it was a friend of hers, is the one who sent the emails to the board of directors this past April.
Dude.
And then the board of directors hired a legal firm to conduct the investigation, so there's not a bias during the investigation.
Dude, if she's busted, if he pulled a Bill Clinton, right, and he got with some girl that's busted, he'll never live this down. That's the end. Vince McMahon's legacy will be that he threw it all away for some busted rhino beast. I'm hoping for Vince's sake that she's hot. Right? I'm hoping she is smoking hot, gorgeous. We heard rumors about Trish Stratus. Okay, if she looks like Trish Stratus, I'll be like, well, he threw it all away, but look at her. He's old. He's old and look at her, right? But if she's busted, oh, man, this is content. This is content, Mr. Ryan Stone.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, man. The crazy thing is, when you hear So according to Fightful Select on their behind their paywall, um, so they reported that they reached out to numerous talents for comment about this whole situation. Numerous people within the company, whether they were just reps of the company or wrestling talent, staff, whatever. And a lot of the crap people are saying is like, well, it took this long, surprising. So this doesn't sound like anything crazy. And the more I've read about this, the more they're finding it's not that crazy.
Dude.
So she was paid $3 million. Well, she hasn't been paid $3 million yet, but she also was forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Part of the agreement was she got $1 million up front and $2 million over the next 5 years. I don't know when this NDA and all this was signed, but she is no longer with the company. She said she quit because she feared Vince. But it was Vince and Jerry McDevitt, the lawyer for the WWE and Vince's personal lawyer, that had her sign the NDA and got the money payout for her to keep it quiet.
Dude.
But there was talk that this could be an issue with that he used corporate funds. So far, preliminary findings show that the payment was made from Vince's personal funds. So that could save him here.
Not really.
But there's a good chance he's probably, I mean, save him here is maybe a little bit, save his face a little bit, save his PR. I mean, he's still going to take a big fucking hit in PR.
Gross sexual misconduct. Like, dude, there's a lot of shit. Like, Vince, we just saw the downfall of Vince McMahon.
Very, very likely Vince will be outed
surviving.
as the chairman. Nope. I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
Even just the infidelity charge alone is going to ruin the man. Like, yo, dude, he's going to get canceled for this. And not just the court of public opinion, but, like, even if it's not a misusage of corporate funds. And that's the first thing. I was like, dude, you could actually do jail time depending on how fucked up he did, right? I was like, yo, Vince could do jail time misappropriating corporate funds, not acting in the shareholders' best financial interests. Like, he has a legal obligation to work for the best interests of the shareholders. And when you do things like that, as the head of the board and the CEO, the guy steering the ship, that is not in the best interest of the shareholders. There's going to be a class action lawsuit, a shareholder lawsuit. That's not even negotiable. That's going to happen.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. And now, so he's going to probably be gone. Like you said, there's probably going to be a lawsuit from the shareholders. I'm willing to bet the board is just going to boot him, or he's going to have to sell.
I don't think he'll have to sell, but he will lose controlling shares. They'll probably change his shares from Class B to Class A, because when you buy, or the other way around, it's one or the other. I'd smoke like 2 bowls. So, but WWE offers 2 kinds of shares. All right, one of them is Class B, one of them is Class A. I forget which is which, but you can easily Google this. The one that you can get on the stock market is different than the one that the family members have. Okay, and
gotcha.
So Vince would not be like the stock that he has. It's the same thing as when Shane. So I was researching the WWE stock and how all that breaks down. So Shane was a shareholder. He had close to about the same as Stephanie and Linda. Right, all of the kids and the wife had roughly the same. Shane sold out like a long time ago. It was like 2011. When he did, they converted his shares from Class B to Class A and then sold them on the open market. And that's how that's going to happen.
Okay.
Now, when Vince gets ousted from the company, his shares will be converted probably from Class B to Class A. And then he doesn't have to sell, but he would no longer have controlling power.
Gotcha.
So now, when it comes to how that company's broken down, I did get, like, Vince has 38% of the company. So all of his shares in that specific class give him 38%, which makes him the single largest shareholder. Nobody else has 38% of the vote by themselves. So then Stephanie is around, like, between 11 and 14%. Same thing with Linda McMahon, and then less than 1%. It's like 0.75 is Triple H. And I
Interesting.
believe there was like one other executive. It could have been Johnny Laurinaitis, but there was one other person that was in the Triple H bracket, and then
Probably Kevin Dunn.
the vast majority of it is held by institutions. We're talking about Vanguard, BlackRock. And those are used in 401ks, hedge funds, mutual funds, things like
Gotcha.
that. So that's the vast majority of it. So less than 40% of the company is owned by Vince McMahon. It's like 38%. Between 35 and 38% is Vince McMahon.
Okay.
That
But he
does
has controlling interest.
That gives him, I believe, it gives him 3 votes to everybody else's 1. So if there was
Gotcha.
ever any shareholder vote, everybody that's a part of that class would get 1 vote, and Vince would get 3. And then,
Cool.
So I don't think he'll have to sell, but I do know that the value of the company is going to take a shit. So, like, his stock price is going to take a dump anyways and be worth less. Like, it's
Probably.
already right now.
Well, here's something crazy about the stock. Prior to this Wall Street Journal article hitting, they did $2.2 million worth of, I forget what the word they used, maybe activity on their stock yesterday, prior to the Wall Street Journal news coming out, which was about $1.5 million more than they do on a day-to-day basis.
So
there's now starting to people to think like insider fucking trading. Like they knew this shit was coming, and so they dumped their shit, or they did shit with it. Kevin Dunn has already had to come out and say, I'm not part of the board, so I'm not affected by this. But yeah.
Well, let me explain. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit into finances right now. The vast majority of all stocks are taking a shit. By a lot.
Yes.
And this is from a gigantic institutional sell-off going. We're in the middle of a great recession / depression stock market crash. So everything is down right now. And WWE being down that much, that's not insignificant volume, but that's not unheard of volume for the kind of activity in the market right now. It wouldn't be unheard of for that much to be sold off, considering that's how much is selling off all around the world.
So let me clarify. 2.1 million of WWE shares changed hands yesterday, which is about 1.5 million more than the average day, and this all took place prior to the Wall Street Journal story break.
Again, this has nothing to do with the Wall Street Journal.
This
has everything to do with the Federal Reserve raising interest rates the highest in history. And, there's a lot going on with that stock price. This is affecting it, but I wouldn't say that that's the reason why it dropped before this news. Now, today... Yes, it was probably a factor in today's price, and it will definitely be a factor going into Friday. Friday, there's usually a big sell-off in the market anyways, and this is going to be bigger. So there's going to be a huge sell-off right at the close of the market Friday. What's going to be interesting about WWE stock price is what it does at market open on Monday, because now the whole world will have a weekend to have digested this news, and investors are going to make decisions based on that. Now, I don't imagine most of the institutional investors dropping any of their price, because again, they don't own like Vince McMahon. They own the intellectual property and the assets and the employees and all that of WWE. That that is worth money. Like the intellectual property of The Undertaker and John Cena, institutions are not going to be selling out of that anytime soon.
Right.
So the stock price, I would imagine there's going to be a big dip. It's going to be mostly the just general sell-off, and a lot of retail people that don't like Vince McMahon or whatever, regular Joes are going to be selling.
Willing to bet if Vince does get outed as chairman and CEO, the stock price will drop again. That usually happens as well when you see the CEOs leave.
No, but that'll rally back, because if
I'm not saying it won't, but yeah.
If you look at the technicals for WWE, it's there's going to be a bottoming out price, and once it hits there, WWE's not going out of business anytime soon. So I don't imagine Vince McMahon leaving is going to have a long-term effect on the viability of WWE as a stock.
I don't think so.
I would probably want to get out now, but in all honesty, I would say that it's too late. If you're already a shareholder of WWE, you're kind of bag holding right now, and I would ride it out rather than take a bunch of losses on a taxable predictable event that's really kind of unnecessary because
Right.
you don't buy stock to like trade unless you're a stock trader. If you've bought stock and you're not a stock trader, then like, if you are a stock trader, then nothing I said matters. But if you're not a stock trader, then you probably should just be holding your WWE stock until you fucking retire.
In it for the long haul.
Yeah, like if you invested in that company to retire on, then you should probably hold it until you retire, because you don't want to eat the losses. And I just don't see WWE going out of business over this.
No,
I do
not at
see
all.
it
Not at all.
changing over this.
Yes. And surprisingly, this could lead to a positive change with the creative aspect of WWE,
Well,
you know?
I was going to say that, dude. People have been complaining about Johnny Ace being a skeever for decades. Like, these are not new allegations.
Fightful Select even had a quote from someone. It was an anonymous quote, and it said, "I'd rather have my shit sent to me in a trash bag than have to deal with Johnny Ace ever again."
Dude,
like, that's pretty crazy. But here's
if that
so
was
even
Sasha
more
Banks. If it was Sasha that said that,
probably. Yeah. But like, dude, so there's more shit that's come out. Like, so, like I said, there it looks like it might have actually not have been misuse of corporate funds, but their investigation has found other NDAs and payments like this from Vince.
well, yeah. This is just
This
the time
isn't
he got
a one-time thing.
No, who
yeah,
thought this
exactly.
who thought this was the first time Vince has ever cheated?
I mean,
on
shit.
Dude,
Go back to the 80s. Like, they have a.
secret.
Oh, it totally was. And that's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, yeah, Vince cheating. Yeah, that's. No, everyone knew that was happening.
Trish Stratus wasn't just a story. To the best of my knowledge, Trish Stratus was not a story. That shit happened, and they turned it into a story. Now, I never worked in WWE in 2003, so I don't know.
But it wouldn't shock you.
I've heard from good sources, solid sources I would trust with rumors like that.
Sure, I wouldn't shock me if he had smashed a few of the divas and the women that have been through the WWE. Hell, they have I think she's on SmackDown. She's a referee. They've been touting her as the very first WWE female referee. Blah blah blah. She wasn't the first. There was one back in the 80s, but you know why they don't mention her? She sued Vince for raping her in the back of his limo.
Right.
And I believe she had a settlement. So, but this thing just blew open this whole thing.
I fucking love
it.
Dude.
Now the investigators are requesting all complaints and allegations about any relationships between executives and staff. Another thing came out today that Vince and Linda's penthouse in Stamford, Connecticut is about to be put up for sale.
Right, hold on. I'm going to stop you right there because this is where we start having fun with this, okay? Because all of this was leaked out by an anonymous source.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And my theory, dude, everybody's thinking that this is Tony Khan making his play, right? Or not Tony Khan, Nick Khan. Everybody's like, this is Nick Khan making his move. Yeah. He's going to oust Vince. He's gotten rid of Triple H, Stephanie, Shane. Now he's making his move. And I'm like, nah, Nick Khan is a tool. Someone is using Nick Khan to oust Vince. And I bet you the leaker, this is my theory, the leaker was Linda.
It wouldn't shock me. I have a different opinion. I think the leaker was Stephanie.
Ooh, you juicy tart.
I think it was Stephanie. She just left the company, 4 weeks ago? Shortly after this investigation began? There's been no public confirmation of exactly why she left the company. There's been rumors that she wasn't able to keep up with her duties and Nick Khan took her position over. There was quite a bit of stuff going on, but no one's actually said, like, this is why. There's rumors that she was outed. There's rumors that she quit. There's, she said she wanted to be home with her family more. But here's what's weird.
Triple H is still there.
He's in the office again. He's working. He's not home.
Yeah. He was there.
But there's also rumors going around that they've split too. Like it's very odd. And, I could see her leaving if they split and she wants to be home with the kids. The kids are having a hard time with it. Sure, I get it. But it's just the timing is just very coincidental.
You gotta think,
You know,
if Vince were to lose
but
control of that company, who would
oh
be
god,
getting it? And when we're looking about who would be getting it,
Woo.
we're looking at Stephanie and Linda. They
But
would
that's
be.
not gonna happen now.
They would
They
be.
don't want it. Even Vince even said, I looked to my family, and he said this on the Pat McAfee show. He goes, I was a little disappointed with their engagement or something to that nature. I forget the exact phrasing he used, but he had mentioned how he was disappointed in how they were engaged with the company. Like maybe they weren't doing as much as him.
Well,
Like they're
Linda
expecting to
was
work
in.
20-hour days.
Linda was in the
You know?
president's cabinet. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, like let's not. I'm not talking about Donald Trump, this or that. Okay, I'm talking about
I understand.
facts. Fact
Linda.
is, Linda worked for the president in his cabinet.
She did.
It's not like she didn't have a job. You can't sit there and be like, oh, Linda, you didn't help me run my wrestling company. I'm not making any judgments on how her performance under that president was. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure she was putting in 80 hours a week doing that.
Probably.
So for Vince to try and put that on Linda, yeah, fuck him.
But look, who stayed? Stephanie was the only of the three that remained. Didn't really take time away. None of that. I thought the company would go to her. I'm not going to lie. I think Nick Khan is the next in line. I think he's going to be the one taking over for Vince.
Well, I think he's going to take over for Vince, but here's my theory on why I think it's Linda. Okay?
I want to hear this.
This is going to fucking ruin Vince McMahon's legacy. Like, this is poetic justice. He is like, he will now go down as skeezy old. Like, this is like his Bill Cosby moment, okay? Like, nobody watches The Cosby Show anymore, okay? He's done. We hate him now. This is Vince McMahon's Cosby moment, okay? And the person that put this out knew it would ruin him. He would lose everything. His legacy would be done. His name would be tarnished and thrown in the trash. The company, his life's work, would be taken from him against his will. The person that put this out there wanted to hurt Vince. Who the fuck would want to hurt Vince? I get you, the daughter, I get you. But who would want to hurt Vince more than his daughter getting mad about him cheating on the mom? Vince's wife. This would be the ultimate fuck you. Not only am I ousting you from everything and I'm taking it from you and I am leaving you with nothing, because if Vince gets ousted, remember, Linda's next. She has next controlling power in the company. Okay, she's at like just above Stephanie. It's like between, I don't know, 11 and 14% between the two of them. But I know that Linda has more shares than it. If Vince is gone, she now runs the WWE.
Crazy.
And
right?
she, like,
Crazy.
All right, now
I could see that. I absolutely could see that.
They're getting divorced. They're putting their house up for sale. Well, we don't know about the divorce, but we know they're putting one of their houses
There's
up for sale.
There's a penthouse, yes.
So, I mean, maybe they're just cashing out. Real estate is crashing. Again, there are other reasons why they would be selling this house, and those reasons would make sense. But if they're getting divorced and Linda is saying, nah, like, fuck you. Because I was talking to my wife last night about this, and I said, dude, this has got to be the most fucking feminine empowerment fucking shit ever. Because Linda put up with, okay, well, this has been an open secret. He's been, getting some fucking bitches behind her back, disrespecting her whole fucking life, and she kept her mouth shut. She kept quiet. She played the good housewife all those years. You had to know this was boiling. You had to know, this motherfucker, and now she gets her revenge. She played the good housewife so well, and now Vince, she's come to task for you, sir. All that dumb shit, you thought you got away with it. She was like, no, I recognize you were smart enough to make this company worth $1 billion when I take it from you.
What if she's got some side piece now, some 20-something-year-old side dude that's, some ripped-ass college kid or something, and she's about to leave his ass for this guy.
Dude, plot twist, she's banging Austin Theory. Dude, if they have a 4 McMahons at WrestleMania, remember with Foley and Big Show, right? They have a 4 McMahons, and there's Kevin Owens, Stone Cold, Austin Theory, fucking Ezekiel, I guess he's feuding with Kevin Owens. Yeah, throw him in there with a McMahon on each corner. for the fucking Universal title, right? Like,
Oh my God.
I think
Austin
Linda,
Theory versus Vince McMahon. Winner gets the company.
oh, you know it, dude. Fucking
Like, they'd fucking put that shit on TV in a heartbeat.
right, Trish Stratus's cell phone number on a pole match.
That sounds like something Chris Jericho and Christian should have done
Right?
back in the day. But last thing I want to add to this topic. So, and I just saw this right before we got on this call and started recording. The WWE board of directors are being investigated now for breach of fiduciary duties.
That was exactly
now I didn't
what
know
I
what
said.
the fuck that meant, so I googled it, and it means they were responsible for something that they should have acted on but didn't.
That's what I'm saying. By law, as heads of the company, they have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of the shareholders. And when they do not act in a way that will directly increase the share price, it has to prove that you at least attempted to increase the price of the share of this company by doing this, which Vince getting laid is not something that will increase the share price of WWE, then yes, you are in breach of that rule there.
The press release about that didn't mention the exact breach, but I mean, we can put two and two together. It came the day after the Wall Street Journal drops this bomb. It's got to be related.
Well, I mean, that whole law is basically a shareholder protection law. It's basically created so that way the little guy, the shareholder, the regular guy like you and me who maybe owns a share in stock, have some kind of protection if Vince McMahon just all of a sudden one day says, yeah, you know what, I don't want to do WWE anymore. I quit. And then it's like, what do you mean you quit? Like, what about the company? Yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, fuck it.
Right? Like, he can't just do that when you're
Right.
a publicly traded company. And this is the way that people can sue and what have you. And it's a very broad general rule. So you're kind of at the mercy of the judge with this one. It's more like, well, can I prove that I acted? Like, how do you prove that you acted in their best financial interests? Like, that's kind of hard to prove. This is one of those laws that's kind of set up to, like, destroy, like, the business. But, again, it's to protect the little guy. And so...
Well, I saw the similar thing about when Twitter didn't want to sell to Elon Musk at first. You were about to be in breach of your fiduciary duties because there was a number of shareholders that would have liked that sale or at least entertain the sale. And when they were like, we're not going to do it, they were pending lawsuit from their shareholders because that could have been something that made them more money. You know, so I get it.
That's a good example because in that example, and I'm not really touching on the Twitter, my opinion on that, but the facts are Elon Musk was going to buy the company at like 30% over the valuation. So that was the deal.
44 million.
If you...
Well,
it doesn't matter the amount. It's just that it was going to be more than it was worth. So if I owned a share of that stock and Elon bought it, I was going to guarantee profit from that day. And that was why they had grounds to sue in court, because it was like, wait, hold on. That's a 30% gain on that stock. Like, I would have made money, and because these people just didn't want to do it, like, they can't do that. Their job is to make sure the stock price goes up. And they did something specifically to keep that from happening. And so that's why the shareholders had grounds to sue Twitter. And that's one of the reasons why shareholders could have grounds to sue Vince McMahon over this. It's like, wait a minute, you worked for me to make this to make wrestling and to sell wrestling. And this has nothing to do with making or selling wrestling. And in fact, this has turned into a PR nightmare that has made my share price drop.
Yup.
And even though
they're saying this is as bad as for Vince as the steroid trial was. Like, this is not good.
Because here's the deal. If the shareholders, and again, a lot of WWE voting shares, right? The shares that have voting rights and controlling stake. A lot of those are held by institutions, okay? A lot of that's held by Vince McMahon, But the next largest is going to be the whole amalgamation of all the institutions. Okay, there's no single one, but all of the institutional money in WWE actually represents the largest piece of the pie. It's just one person controls that piece of the pie.
Yeah.
But if all of them got together and said, yeah, Vince McMahon, you're fired tomorrow, that is the law. That is what happened. And those institutional investors could, they have grounds for this, saying, yo, dude, we don't want a guy that's going to be having affairs running our company. We don't want a guy, he's a liability if he's engaging in sexual deviancy and sexual misconduct and cheating on his wife. We don't want that guy running our company and being responsible for whether or not we make money.
Right.
This is why I keep telling people to get involved in the stock market. I'm like, dude, if you love, people complain, they're like, oh, WWE doesn't care about the fans. They only care about the shareholders. And I'm like, they're fucking publicly traded. Go buy one. Now you got skin in the game. The fucking share price is what, $20 right now? Like, it shit took a shit. It was 40 when I last had some shares in it. But go and be a shareholder. You have that power, and that's participate in capitalism. Control your market and control your money. But
the one thing that I'm reading is, at the very least, if Vince is somehow able to save his skin and push everything off, Johnny Ace is the fall guy. And he's gone no matter what. It depends on the evidence, but just from what I've been reading and what you've been reading, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Vince is fucked. I think Vince is gone. Johnny Ace is also gone.
Dude,
I've got a feeling that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There may be more folks there that are about to be outed just because of this.
Dude, I think what's really telling is WWE's press release, okay? When this all came out, they said WWE is investigating. We take these allegations seriously, and we are investigating. No denial. They didn't say these allegations are untrue and we will fight these tooth and nail. The truth will prevail in court. Okay, you know the shit that Johnny Depp said when he ended up being innocent? Yeah, they didn't say that shit. They said we are complying. We are working with the investigators. We are doing everything they are asking of us. We will give no roadblocks in this investigation. We are an open book. And it's like, oh wow, like, yeah.
For them to say that 2 months into their investigation, they've got stuff.
Yeah, no. Well, dude, we knew stuff was there. Okay,
and this is, like you said, this has been the biggest open secret in a long time. Vince has been accused of sleeping with women for a very long time. And I mean, cheating on his wife and doing this. He's been accused of rape. I mean, come on.
But see, and this is what gets me mad, is because this whole situation, and Vince McMahon is the only reason why the wrestling industry is legitimate and anybody gives a shit. Vince McMahon brought that company. There has never been a publicly traded wrestling promotion. Now, WWE doesn't call itself a wrestling promotion. They don't deal in wrestling. They're a media entertainment company. But when they first listed, they were a pro wrestling company. No one ever did that shit. Okay,
their name on the stock market initially was WWFE, World Wrestling Federation Entertainment.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they legitimize the industry, man. It's no longer a bunch of shady, carny shit. No more back dealing stuff.
Well.
But the thing is, you could take the carnies out of the carnival, but you couldn't take the carny out of Vince. And that's the downfall. And that's why I'm so glad for companies like AEW, companies like, fucking Ring of Honor. Well, I mean, it's the same owner as AEW, but like GCW, companies that are not involved with the old...
There's carny shit going on with GCW, man.
But they're not the old guard. They're new guard carny shit, okay? They're not promoters from the 70s. You know what I mean? They're shitheads from now, but it's not the same people. And that's what I like, is that wrestling was being pulled out of the dark, out of the shadows. And part of that was getting WWE to be a legitimately viewed business. It's not a scam. Remember, people that don't remember, before kayfabe, wrestling was a scam. The whole industry, we were trained in the business. They taught us how to scam people.
Yes. Yes,
Like,
it's a scam, just like going and playing fair games at your local county fair. It's all the same thing. There's a reason why you can, if you walk up to those dudes and start speaking Carney, they hear you. I actually had to go. My uncle was in the Carney business for a long, long time, and he still has friends in there. And this was probably, oh, I don't know, 15 plus years ago now. But he called me up and was like, hey, this is when I lived in San Diego. One of my friends is going to be in San Diego. He's got for I think it was the Del Mar Fair, or the San Diego County Fair, whatever they're calling it these days. And he's like, hey, he's in town for the fair, but his laptop just took a shit. Can you go help him? And so I had been wrestling for a while at this point, and I said, sure, no problem. I walked in, I'm sitting down, I'm messing on his laptop trying to get it fixed, and I just start speaking Carney to him. And the look he gave me was like, he's like, where did you learn this? We don't, so I gave him my spiel about wrestling being Carney, and he goes, holy shit, I did not know that was in pro wrestling. And I said, oh yeah. And he goes, and he clued me, and he goes, by the way, we don't all speak it anymore. He goes, I'm an old school guy, so I know it, but he's like, nah, it's not used widely today. And I'm like, that's pro wrestling too.
right?
I said, I have an old school trainer who taught me Carney.
Isn't it sad that the only thing keeping that culture alive is fucking Snoop? No, but think about it.
Well, I
right?
think it's funny whenever I say, "Oh yeah, wrestlers have their own language." They adopted it from the Carney circuit, the carnival circuit, and they're like, "What does it sound like?" And I was like, "You ever heard Snoop Dogg talk?
Right,
like that."
I think it's funny
for shizzle dizzle.
Snoop admits that it was Carney. He said that he got it from Carney. Somebody taught him Carney, and that's why he brought that. But he never acknowledged that it was Carney, probably to like keep the secret, so that way people. But yeah, that the whole industry. I mean, I've said it several times. Like the whole industry is an industry of lies. But Vince McMahon, for better or worse, cleaned it up.
Absolutely.
And I think
absolutely,
that
he deserves every credit. He deserves every credit for making wrestling mainstream. He deserves every credit for WWE trying to be on the same level as NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. He should be credited with this.
I mean,
it was his thing.
The thing is, he's
absolutely.
a slime ball, but people don't realize, like, once you get, smartened up, right? Once you get smartened up in the biz and you find out how truly fucking awful it is, okay? Because Dark Side of the Ring, like, everybody, those are just stories that we were told coming up. Okay, that was the shit that every one of those episodes, and I'm like, yeah, I remember when so-and-so told me that story. Like, all of that shit.
Right.
Okay, there are people that were worse than Vince, and Vince kind of cleaned that out of the industry. And that's why I think it's so tragic, because it's like, goddamn, you filthy Carney piece of shit, right? You were the chosen one. He's fucking Anakin. He's Anakin. We had the high ground, Vince. Oh, you guys don't know. Right?
Oh god, that was a fucking perfect analogy. But I'll say this: I don't necessarily consider what Vince is doing as the Carney shit, dude. This is what every billionaire, head of industry, they all pull this shit. How many, billionaires, senators, just fucking rich people pull shit like this? Look at Jared from fucking Subway. Do you think that dude was probably a pedophile before he got rich? I don't think so. I think that dude got all that crap because of all the money and everything that was afforded with that money.
Yeah.
I think the same thing with Vince.
Money is not the root of all evil. It just gives you access to evil.
Exactly. And that's where I think of it. He's just an old billionaire trying to get his rocks off.
Right. We should make that a t-shirt. Darkness is expensive. and dude. I just feel like it's a damn shame, because for a man who did so much good for the industry, and we'll probably die on this hill, but like anybody who knows anything about the wrestling business, Vince McMahon did a lot for the wrestling business. He takes care, that's one thing he gets shit on for, about unionizing and insurance and all of that. But Vince McMahon does take care of his employees. If you work for him and you get hurt, Darren Drozdov is still paid without question. That man will not have to work a day in his life. I mean, granted, he can't work, but I mean, Vince could have washed his hands of it, and he didn't.
He didn't. He didn't. No, and he's done that. He's done right by a lot of people. You'll hear a lot of the negative stuff, and I know people, harp on Bruce Pritchard for being a Vince McMahon bootlicker. Even Conrad fucking rips on him for doing it.
He does it in this fucking very episode. He's sucking Vince's fucking dick in the episode. And Conrad's
pretty
like,
much,
dude, why are you sucking Vince's dick? And
I'm not sucking his dick.
right?
No, but you know what? He does go over some good things that Vince has done. When you hear the stories of Stu Hart calling up Vince and going, hey, can you give Jim Neidhart a job? No problem, Stu. I'll do it for you. Hearing that Arnold Skollin's wife, I believe, was on the payroll after Arnold Skollin died, and he paid her for the remainder of her life. You hear the good things, and it's typically the people that do right by Vince does right by them. You start pissing Vince off, you're gone. If Shawn Michaels didn't have a massive drug problem, he would have been paid that entire fucking time between the time he retired in 98 till he came back in 2002. He was for a good short portion of it, but there were parts where Vince said, get the fuck out.
It's just,
you hear good things, but you've always heard the slummy side of Vince. Vince has always been, not the best. I mean, you hear things like, don't sneeze around him, don't do this shit around him, and that type of stuff. Like, you hear the weirdness, the quirkiness, the dumbness of Vince. But yeah, dude, the good things, you can't discredit the good things he's done. Sure, he's probably a big piece of shit human, but he's done good.
And that's, and that's kind of the face of wrestling. If anybody is the face of wrestling, I think Vince McMahon is the face of wrestling. Because when you think about it, like, we love the business. There's so much good. Mm-hmm. There's so much great, beautiful artistry from the business. Yeah. It's impacted our lives in a positive manner, but we don't turn away from the ugly side of it. And I think that's kind of Vince McMahon. He is the wrestling industry in a nutshell, because for every great thing Vince McMahon did,
there's six bad.
This is how the story ends, right? Vince McMahon's 70. God. Okay, I don't know if he's going to invent the XFL and make that work and become, the Vince McMahon of football. I think he's going to die before then. So, his last biggest accomplishment was being a scumbag who lost his company because he couldn't control his dick.
He's going to be 77 in August.
Yeah. Yeah, and he could spend those years in jail. That's the thing, is he could be spending those last 30 to fucking 10 to 30 years in jail. And I feel like that's the biggest tragedy. It's tragic. The same thing with Bill Cosby. It's like, dude, I fucking watched The Cosby Show as a kid. Me and you used to listen to Bill Cosby fucking records, right? Fucking hit me with a slush ball.
Slush ball.
We used to be fans of Bill Cosby. And now what? It's like, dude, I can't listen to that shit anymore.
I don't, yeah.
And Vince McMahon, and again, I'm not going to stop watching wrestling, and I'm not going to stop watching WWE. It's a little bit different than Bill Cosby. His stand-up was just him.
Different.
You know, there's literally thousands of people have made the WWE what it is today. Okay, Doink had a helping hand in making the WWE. It was a small hand, but Doink the Clown is just as,
No, that was Dink. Dink had the small hand.
What was the fucking Jerry Lawler midgets, right? The cheesy, queasy, and sleazy. Remember
and he had Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink.
Yeah, those guys, however small or insignificant, they're a part of WWE, and they help make that company. And so,
absolutely,
I'm not going to shit on WWE. A lot of people probably I can't watch WWE ever again. And I'm like, no, dude, because Cody Rhodes is still the shit.
Yes, he is.
That's where I'm going to see Cody Rhodes when he comes back. So, whatever. Vince is going to get fired anyways.
A personal issue that from the head of a company doesn't affect the talent, just because Vince banged some chicks and paid them hush money doesn't mean the New Day isn't good,
it's heartbreaking for me because as a human being, I respected Vince McMahon, right? For what he did to kind of take wrestling from where it was to what it is. He accomplished, his life goal was to make WWF the Coca-Cola of wrestling, and by God, he did it. Let's be real. He did it. People don't even call it wrestling. They call it WWE. When you say
Yes.
wrestling, people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the Olympics? No, WWE. Now they know
Whenever
what you're
I
talking
mention
about.
it to people that I've never talked about it before, I'll mention, "Oh yeah, I used to be a wrestler." Well, and I've always had like Olympic? No, WWE.
Well, we did
And
that
that's why I
too,
always say
though.
I used to, so I would always go, "I used to be a wrestler like WWE." Just so they always know it, because like you said, you say pro wrestling, I could even say I used to be a professional wrestler. Oh, so you got paid to do like Olympics, right? No.
But I'm just saying, me and you both
It's
did
different, yeah.
actual wrestling. We were
And
varsity
we did
wrestlers in
collegiate
high
style
school,
wrestling. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Because I consider professional wrestling to be a martial arts exhibition with a story. We've discussed that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
I've got, I know how to fight, and so do you. But we understand that it's different, and it's just heartbreaking for me because like
Oh,
Vince
so
McMahon
yeah.
as a businessman, dude, just looking at how he's run, the business, like
Yeah.
he's inspiring, man. Like you can't deny how inspiring the guy's life has been, and it to me it's just so fucking sad. It's one of those things like never meet your heroes, right? Because like, I can grow up my whole life thinking Vince McMahon is just a character, that he's not really like that. That the businessman behind the evil corporate billionaire is a person that I could be inspired and motivated to greatness. And no, the reality is that Vince McMahon, the character on TV, was real. That was a real man
Yeah.
the whole time. Good
Yeah.
and bad. For the
Good and
good
bad.
and the bad. But it's just
Oh.
unfortunate that the bad is there. Although in the grand scheme of things, honestly, if this is Vince McMahon's downfall, I don't even think it's that bad. Like, he cheated on his wife. That makes him a scumbag. But, like,
Yeah.
when you've got Chris Benoit and Jimmy Snuka also in your
Oh.
industry, it's like, when you think about it, it's like, performers in this industry that have ruined their legacy, like Vince McMahon cheated on his wife. Chris Benoit was Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a quick Jimmy Snuka story, and I want to tell you. So back in 2007, I met Jimmy Snuka. I was helping a buddy who had a booth at a convention called Wrestle Fan Fest in San Francisco. Anyone's ever heard of it, Google that fucking disaster. It was amazing, and I was on the inside the entire fucking time.
we need to do a show
one of
on
the
that
nights,
then.
we're going to have to. But there's one night after the convention got over that we were all congregated in the bar. I'm not going to go into details of why everyone was congregated in the bar, but I mean like all the wrestlers were congregated in the bar that were attending the show. And, I was sitting there and across, I'm sitting next to fucking Gene Okerlund, Sonny's there, Sandman, Francine, all these people, whatever. Well, two other people there, Jerry Sags and Brian Knobs. They're sitting across the bar. Well, a few seats down from me is Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and he's talking up some girl that was sitting next to him. The loudest scream I've ever heard, and I don't mean like a blood-curdling scream, I just mean someone was yelling at the top of their lungs, and it was Brian fucking Knobs. Brian Knobs. Yelling, "Snuka! Don't kill her, Snuka!"
Damn.
In the fucking bar. And there's probably, I don't know, 50, 60 people in there, mostly the locker room from the convention. Myself, my friends that I was there with because they had a booth. And holy shit, that place went silent. But that's my Snuka story.
Okay, wait, but you can't tell me that's what happened afterwards. Did Snuka say anything, or just that was it?
Nothing fucking happened. Everyone was like, oh. And then the music turned back on and everyone went back to their fucking drinks. Like, everyone was like, holy shit. Like, dude, you saw, like, people's mouths were dropped. But, like, then everything just went back.
No, because Snuka was a crippled old man at the time, and both of the Nasty
Not in
Boys,
2007.
Yeah.
Not in 2007.
No, but in
he was still walking. He was still talking.
Yeah,
he was
but
fine.
he was not as big as the Nasty Boys.
No.
The Nasty Boys, you know what? Say what you will about their work style. Those guys are still working shows. Like,
Yeah, they ain't great, but yeah, they are.
I don't think that they, say what you will, but those guys have got longevity, and I'm pretty sure in 2006 or whatever, if it came down to one of the Nasty Boys versus Superfly, I'm pretty sure Superfly would have probably not walked away from that fight.
Probably not. No.
So I imagine.
I mean, unless it was in a hotel room and there was, a little desk or something nearby,
Right.
then he could have slammed their head onto it. But yeah.
I think that was pretty much Nasty Boys bullying, right? They knew they could
Dude,
say
it was
that
the
shit.
fucking funniest thing I've seen, and I couldn't believe it because even in 2007, you had always heard, oh, he did it, but I was a fucking little low ball indie schmuck. I was nobody, but I had heard these stories just because of whatever. But to hear Brian Knobbs yell it, you're just like, wait a minute.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Crazy as fuck, man.
That's gangster. I mean, it's kind of a bully thing. Like, he knew Superfly wasn't going to he couldn't put
Nothing was
hands on
going to
him.
get done.
That boy wasn't going to put hands on you. So it is kind of a bully move, but you're bullying a murderer.
It is.
Because
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
right? You're bullying a murderer, and that's the thing, man. I think that's the whole bow on the top of Vince McMahon is like, damn it, we used to love you, and you're just a scumbag. But when I think about it, he's not as bad of a scumbag as he could have been, considering it's the wrestling industry, right?
He's still a scumbag, right? Like, is he going to lose a lot of public perception? Is it going to go to the shitter? Absolutely. But like you said, man, he still took the WWE from a regional company to a global. Not even
WWE.
Thing.
He took an industry and basically made it. He made the wrestling industry, because think about it, dude. Wrestling was on a down point before Hogan. That shit was falling. Crockett was barely holding it together. He was that's why they were looking to sell to Ted Turner. Was because the industry was taking a shit, and it was Vince McMahon consolidating, right? A lot of people gave Vince McMahon a lot of shit for what he did by taking, all the stars and wiping out the territory.
Oh, it was pretty shitty, but it was business.
He was consolidating. That's what's going on in the financial markets right now. He was consolidating power because those companies were going out of business. If they were profitable companies, they would have had the money to pay for their stars. Vince McMahon did that shit on loans. Now, it doesn't
look at the AWA. The AWA refused to sign, and they went under.
Right? And they were already going under. And that's the whole thing. And, granted, I mean, Vince McMahon was able to pull that off with loans, and any other promoter with a little bit of business savvy could have pulled that off, because Vince McMahon didn't have the money to do what he did, but, he understood business. And like the territories were going to go under whether Vince was around or not. And if the territories died with Vince not existing, then wrestling died with them.
I would like to do a full podcast topic just on the territories and the death of the territories, because I have some thoughts about territories and where they could have gone. But he definitely saw the writing on the wall and did what he needed to do. He had the money. He had the vision. That was the big thing, the vision. Like he even said, if WrestleMania flopped, I was out of business. You know? But he had a vision, I think that vision is what took, and I think people don't give Vince a whole lot of credit for the things he's done in terms of bridging that gap between like sport and entertainment, where you've got Muhammad Ali being the guest referee in the first Mania. You had Cyndi Lauper. The whole rock and wrestling boom that happened was really cool. And I think that's what led to, you see things now, Super Bowl. Look at the Super Bowls. The halftime shows are these massive events with these big name musicians, over the last 20, 30, 40 years. And I think Vince... UFC's another one.
UFC's entire business model is, what did wrestling do?
And make it real. Yeah.
That's it. What did wrestling? They took wrestling and they said, we're going to do wrestling, but they're going to really fight.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, it's all storylines. Most of those guys don't really hate each other. Right. They're just going to punch each other in the fucking face.
They have
Vince changed entertainment in general. He changed sports. Hell, the NFL, after that first XFL season in 2001, stole. I mean, I guess you can't say stole since the XFL was out of business, but they stole the camera angles. That camera that Vince would do along the kickoff where it would run the center of the field, That wasn't on the NFL. They were all cameras around the stadium.
You know what?
No, Vince revolutionized sports and entertainment and revolutionized the crossover between them. I don't think you would have these. I mean, you might, but it might not have been as early as it was if you didn't have Vince having star power at WrestleMania, having these, celebrities showing up, ring announcing, timekeeping, refereeing, having, and then you saw in the later WrestleManias where you'd have performances by these artists, like when Puff Daddy did, or Puff, whatever the hell his name is, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever the fuck. He. You had him doing the WrestleMania 29. You had that whole thing. Vince, I think, is responsible for seeing things and taking in these other sport places, taking that to the next level. I think Vince could be responsible for it because I don't recall seeing that shit in 1986. Right? I was 3, but I didn't see it.
Vince, he had a way. Again, people say that, and this episode feels like a Vince McMahon obituary more than anything.
I mean, mostly, yes.
Yeah, it is primarily
his McMahon, professional obituary.
He will go down as the world's greatest promoter. You could say what you want about Ringling Brothers and how they were the world's greatest promoters, but dude, they don't have circuses anymore, and we are still talking about wrestling. No, Ringling Brothers.
I mean, animal cruelty had a little bit to do with that, but I agree. Ringling Brothers was around for a long time and was a very good touring brand. But WWE, nobody could hold a candle to what they did.
Ringling Brothers could have pivoted towards Cirque du Soleil and focused on acrobatic shows and stunt shows. They chose to stick with elephants, so they got what was coming to them. But
they chose to abuse animals.
That being said, the only circus anyone fucking knows about anymore is Cirque du Soleil. So, I say Vince beat Ringling Brothers, the #1 promoter of all time. He's also a scumbag, and that is what it is. But
big shocker,
I don't know. Again, I said this is like an obituary, and it's heartbreaking for me. Just as someone that was a fan of Vince McMahon, I'm not sad that he did what he did, because, again, I'm a fan of Vince McMahon. I've known he was a scumbag. I still appreciated what he did for the business, but it's just sad that that's going to be his legacy. You kind of thought that, you know what? Maybe this open secret, it'll be kind of like other wrestling personalities, right? It's like, oh, yeah, fucking Kurt Angle was great, but, Perk Angle was a thing. It was gonna be like that. It's like, oh, yeah, Vince McMahon, he did great things. Yeah, he wasn't perfect. He may have cheated on his wife. He may have been a horn dog. But it's like, damn, man, that shit, it's sad that not only is that going to be the case, but he's going to lose everything. And that, to me, is the worst. Vince McMahon should be a lesson for you all, okay? A lesson for you all. Karma is a bitch. Vince McMahon
doesn't matter how long it fucking takes. Yep. It doesn't matter how long it fucking takes. It's coming.
Yeah. I'm sad about Vince, but I'm not sad for Vince. Okay,
there you go.
He done
That's
this
a great
shit
way to put it.
to himself. I'm sad that this happened, but fuck him, dude. Lock his ass up and throw him away, right?
Hey, if he did the crime, do the time. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that. I don't care if he's my freaking hero. If he did it, gotta go.
Right.
That's it.
Well, with that, we are out of time. Yeah, dude. We totally devoted our whole show to Vince McMahon, but again, this is a topic that we wanted to go a little bit more in depth into.
Yeah.
Both of us, Ryan had a lot of research that he did, and I, have a little bit of a deeper understanding of certain aspects. So we wanted to go in depth with that. We'll probably try to cover more topics next time, but in the meantime, subscribe, and comment time, right?
Hell yeah, guys. Thank you. That was a fun one. Fuck, man. I can't believe we went an hour on Vince, but it doesn't shock me. I mean, that legendary of a stature in this business,
dude, I wonder
deserved the full thing.
I wonder if that intern went a whole hour on Vince.
Oh! I don't know if Vince could go the whole hour anymore.
Damn. All night long. All night. I'm just, you know what, dude? Let's leave people on a happy thought. Vince McMahon sweating over you with his loose skin and his old balls.
The
Yeah.
fuck is that a happy thought? No, you got to say something else because I'm not leaving on that shit.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you
You
very
motherfucker.
much. Follow Ryan Stone on Twitter, where he will show pictures of his loose skin and old balls.
You motherfucker.